Up then with Richard Chamberlain and Darren Nelson on the front row, then Phil Bergen and David Fairbrother. Watch for the progress of Adam Wilcox from 8th. He has been a front runner in British GTs for many years. And Andy Schultz then, well, he just needs to finish ahead of Darren Nelson to claim GTO title honours. The GTA battle also, I'd expect it to be very keenly fought as the cars turn through Lodge Corner. Get ready for the rolling start for this, the final race of the 2015 season, and away we go. And it's a good start from Richard Chamberlain, who is able to punch his way to the front of Darren Nelson as they turn into Old Hull and then run out over the rumble strips downhill into Avenue Dentons and then the left-hander at Cascades. There's Phil Bergen in 3rd place in the Audi, trying to stay with Nelson and Chamberlain. Now the key here for Darren Nelson is not to get in trouble in these early stages. Let Andy Schultz do the hard work from the back of the grid as they turn through Island Bend. Well up in 4th is Will Plant in 5th. It's Adam Wilcox, so he has had an excellent start to the race. Now there is Andy Schultz, who's already gained a couple of places up past Martin Johnson and also John Saunders. Looks to challenge to the inside of Mike Seller as well into Shell Oil's corner. Can't quite do it, but again, for Schultz there is that balance between pushing on so not risking the car, and that's what he's got to be very careful of. As we've got a wave yellow flag, and it's a spinner at Britain's, and it's Darren Nelson who's in trouble, and that is a disaster for Nelson. He rejoins now in the path of the pack, but Andy Schultz is past him, and that suddenly swings the GTO title battle right back in favour of Andy Schultz. And Darren Nelson has now got an awful lot of work to do. Schultz is able to pick his way past Mike Seller. Well, Darren Nelson did not want that on the first lap of the race. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it's Chamberlain from Bergen, then Plant and Adam Wilcox. Tom Webb is also well up. A good script going on here amongst GTA as well. That is Mark Moss, who has the GTA group in a black BMW, just clear of our GTA champion, Rob Gaffney. So Andy Schultz looks to close up onto that battle. Richard Chamberlain swoops through, across the line, and into the second lap of the race. There is Adam Wilcox in the white Audi that he is sharing with Nigel Hudson this weekend. Just tucked up behind Will Plant. Plant in the Porsche GTC Group winner in race 1, and well up to do much the same again in race 2 as the pair of them head out of Cascades along Lakeside and on towards Island Bed. Headlights ablaze from Phil Bergen as into the Island Bend. Now is that the opening front of Wilcox in Shell Oil's corner? Saw a gap to the inside of Will Plant. Plant is able just to tip in to the corner in time. And this was always the challenge here at Oulton Park. It's a narrow and busy circuit, and therefore lining up an overtaking opportunity is not necessarily the work of the moment. So out of Britain's over Hilltop and into the chicane at Hizzies. This is another overtaking opportunity for Adam Wilcox. Wilcox very keen to get past if he can. So the Will Plant closes pretty quickly. It means they've got Tom Webb sitting just behind them. Webb the foremost of the GTB runners in this race, with David Fairbrother primarily focused on getting it to the checkered flag and therefore GTB Championship victory as turning through Druids. Wilcox can see Richard Chamberlain and Phil Bergen just beginning to disappear off over the horizon, and Wilcox, in terms of pure pace, would fancy his chances to really challenge for victory in this one. At the same time, he doesn't want to end up with a bent Audi, and therefore he's just waiting to see if he can pressurise Will Plant into making a little bit of a mistake, or possibly find an opportunity to draw alongside and not have to risk the car when he squeezes past. But it doesn't happen at Old Hull on this occasion. The pair of them heading then downhill towards Cascades, and again Wilcox just challenges to the inside of Plant through the left-hander along Lakeside. There is Phil Bergen, second place. Richard Chamberlain is our race leader, of course, and Plant and Wilcox had a slight elevation in pace. They've now just eased clear of Tom Webb, and Wilcox again looks to the inside of Will Plant into Shell Oil's corner, but the Porsche is positioned to make sure there's no way through for Wilcox. Just to redouble his efforts, where he can challenge again. The other big opportunity, of course, is coming into Hizzies, and he gets a good exit from Britons. It means he closes up to the tail of the Porsche as they come over Hilltop, and this is the opportunity for Wilcox, and he knows that he draws alongside Will Plant now and eases past into third place. Great move that from Adam Wilcox. It's lap and a half in the making. Now he's released to try and chase down Phil Bergen and Richard Chamberlain at the front of the field. Up over Clay Hill. You can see he's already got several seconds that he needs to try and haul down. In the background there was a glimpse of Andy Schultz, so Schultz is carving his way through the pack exactly as we anticipated that he would, and he is now up into 6th position, but crucially well clear of Darren Nelson, which is what he needs in terms of the GTO Championship from this race. Therefore, Schultz will continue to move up the order, I'm sure, but at the same time I don't think he's going to be doing anything unduly risky. He sees a gap to the inside, however, of Tom Webb into Oulton. Through he goes, snatches the place. Into 5th then for Schultz. Meanwhile, here's the battle for the GTA group on this between Rob Gaffney and Mike Moss, and Gaffney looks to the inside of Moss into Lodge Corner. Now, has he run out a little bit wide? Possibly, yes he does. He bounces across the curbs and the grass, and that's going to give Moss in the BMW the opportunity to get the switch back, which is exactly what he does, and repasses as they run on into Oulton. Gaffney and the Ginetta, who's been really the class act in GTA this season, both in terms of outright pace but also consistency as well. A pair of them turn into Cascades now, run along Lakeside. This is one of the beauties of the GT Cup Championship, is the balance of performance within each group is so even that you get these great battles going on throughout the field, as now the leading quartet are all converging on each other, with Andy Schultz and Adam Wilcox running in tandem and coming on to terms with Phil Bergen, who's a little bit closer to Richard Chamberlain. So this race is really coming to the boil very nicely. Chamberlain, there he is in the Porsche, not really able to play to that car's strengths here at Oulton Park, so he's built a buffer over Bergen, but it is a far from comfortable one. Phil Bergen has been increasingly impressive as the season has worn on, really getting the most of out of the Audi now, as he climbs up over Deer Leap into the end of the lap. Here is the fight between Mike Moss and Rob Gaffney, the pair of them still running in tandem, and you get the feeling that Gaffney could find a way past Moss, he'd be able to break away, but he's not been able to see that opening. We've got a white flag there, somebody going very slowly. It's Abby Eaton in the BMW, and she moves off the racing line, allows this GTA group battle to surge past. And again, Gaffney looks to line up the move, heading towards Lodge Corner. Mike Moss knows that he's coming, tries to squeeze the Ginetta, and this time around Gaffney can't actually get himself alongside, therefore the pair of them run in tandem through Lodge and climb on up into the end of another lap. The lap's being reeled off very rapidly here in Oulton Park. Average speed for the GTO cars of just shy of 100 miles an hour for each lap. Here is Richard Chamberlain then, the race leader, and now a challenge for second place, because Alan Wilcox draws alongside Phil Bergen and goes past. So Wilcox takes second place into Island Bend. Not a move for the faint-hearted. And now Andy Schultz may well look to see if he can pick away past Bergen as well, which would be handy for Schultz, because what that would do is put a GTO car as a buffer between himself and Darren Nelson, who is still trying to chase his way up to this group. He's got plenty of ground to try and close down. Meanwhile, Bergen determined to defend from Schultz, but Andy Schultz draws alongside Phil Bergen as they get on the brakes into Hizzies. Schultz goes through and up into third place. Richard Chamberlain still leads. We'll take a short break. Join us in a couple of moments' time. Welcome back to the final race of the GT Cup Championship season here at Oulton Park. Richard Chamberlain leads the way. This is the battle for GTA Group victory between Mike Moss and Rob Gaffney. The two cars have been absolutely inseparable ever since the start of the race, and they continue to be fighting very, very closely, as there is Wayne Mars, who is our GTC champion and well on course for the overall GT Cup Championship victory. Meanwhile, here's the fight at the front of the field, because Adam Wilcox and Andy Schultz, running in tandem, have closed up onto the tail of Richard Chamberlain, who is finding the Porsche a little bit of a handful there as he comes out to Lodge Corner. That is the Palex Porsche going very slowly with David Fairbrother. He just needs to make it to the checkered flag in order to claim the GTB crown, and therefore taking absolutely no risks whatsoever. Andy Schultz and Alan Wilcox close up towards the tail of the Chamberlain. Now, Andy Schultz doesn't need to pass Alan Wilcox to win the GTO Championship, but every place he can gain is a little bit of a buffer over Darren Nelson, who stands to close up onto this group pretty quickly. If they get onto turns with Chamberlain and start scrapping, they'll slow each other down, and that will just give a little bit of a chink of daylight for Darren Nelson as Wilcox challenges the outside of Richard Chamberlain at Shell Oil's corner, and Wilcox really wants this. But again, the problem being that in terms of the balance of performance, the Audi is very agile through the corners, but the Porsche is absolutely blistering in a straight line, and therefore even Adam Wilcox, as you can see, then gets a better exit from Britons than Richard Chamberlain. Chamberlain is able to get 2 car lengths clear by the time they get on the brakes to his ease, and that means that Wilcox is going to have to try and fluster the very unflappable Richard Chamberlain into some sort of a mistake. So the pair of them come, or the trio rather, coming out of his ease. Andy Schultz, meanwhile, watching, waiting, seeing if maybe something will open itself up to him to gain the place through Druids. See Schultz just keeping a very, very wide berth of the curbs. He's doing absolutely nothing to potentially jeopardise that Aston Martin. And Wilcox, meanwhile, using all the road, just trying to see if he can find a way past Chamberlain, who again is a little bit sideways exiting Lodge corner. But then the Porsche punches the hole through the air and is again 2 car lengths clear of Wilcox by the time they arrive into Old Hall. And that means that Adam Wilcox would need to be pretty spectacular on the brakes to eke away past the Porsche. So downhill they run and into Cascades, then along Lakeside. And this is one of the best battles of the season we've had. But all the while, of course, here is Darren Nelson, and Nelson is gaining hand over fist on that leading group. And he lost a lot of ground early on, but as the leaders fight and slow themselves down, that is going to give Nelson possibly the opportunity to catch himself on between now and the checkered flag. What Adam Wilcox is doing is forcing Richard Chamberlain to start taking the defensive lines. That is when it starts to get really interesting, because it means that immediately the pace amongst this leading trio drops by 2 or 3 seconds a lap. And that is exactly what Darren Nelson needs, as again Wilcox just has a little bit of a look to the inside of Richard Chamberlain into his. Chamberlain, though, puts the car in the middle of the road, and therefore there is not an Audi R8's width to the inside line, which means that Wilcox can't find a way past. Oh, that's such a shame. Rob Gaffney, his season ending in very disappointing fashion, having driven absolutely fantastically throughout the course of the year. Now they're getting in and amongst a little bit of the traffic as well. And that is good news for Richard Chamberlain. He puts the car of Mike Seller between himself and Alan Wilcox through Lodge corner. And his lead opens out to about 10 car lengths. I suspect that Wilcox and Schultz will close that down pretty quickly. Well, of course, as things stand, Andy Schultz is poised to claim the GTO Championship, but only just from Darren Nelson. There really is very, very little in it. Along Lakeside once more into Island Bend. This Oulton Park circuit is so challenging because the circuit is always undulating. It's not billiard table smooth in the way that somewhere like the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit is, for example. And that means that the car is always moving around. It means the drivers have always just got to be poised with their reflexes, ready as the car looks to kick and buck. So we flip-flop our way through Britain's up over Hilltop, and already Wilcox back onto terms with Richard Chamberlain. That gives you an indication of just how quick the Audi is capable of going, because he has closed what was about half a second's deficit up in the space of 7 corners. He's brought Andy Schultz with him for company. Schultz not having to move the Aston around unduly. There is David Fairbrother, and he is looking well set for the GTB Championship. Meanwhile, through Druids, Richard Chamberlain and Alan Wilcox. We're getting very late in the race now, looking to see if he can line up a last gasp move on Chamberlain. He's not close enough to on this occasion. In fact, he moves across the inside of the road as much as anything to defend from Andy Schultz as to challenge Richard Chamberlain, who comes out of Lodge corner, up over Dearly, takes the checker flag and does the double in the GT Cup Championship at Oulton Park. An excellent second place for Alan Wilcox, third in the GTO Championship to Andy Schultz. Darren Nelson just 7.5 seconds back at the flag. A great recovery.